All right, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, all the show.
I have my my exciting co-host who somehow always wins at intro fighters. I don't know how.
Pure skill.
Oh yeah, it's always because you have the upper advantage of whatever weapon you summon in. It's like you're cheating over there somehow. I don't know how, but
It's just pure skill, like I say.
all right. We are on episode 9 for Tiny Toys Tuesdays. Today we're talking about the new Soulblight Gravelords book. I don't know too much about Soulblight. I know enough. I've played a little bit of them, but I probably couldn't have anyone better on the show than Camaron, who is very, very versed in Soulblight.
Ooh, I love me some vampires.
Yes, and dogs. Don't forget dogs.
And dogs. All the dogs. Can't forget the
Yes,
dogs.
can't forget the dogs. So I guess we'll start with news and whatever everyone's up to. I've been kind of busy, so still building Warhammer stuff. But this weekend I was at one of the NHRA races in Vegas with my dad, so I was doing that. As well as Erica has started some rock building for an upcoming event.
Ooh, that's begun to start, huh?
Yeah, I know Cameron's busy at doing some paperwork for that event.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
but we'll get more into that. We'll probably do a show on that at some point. But yeah, we're getting that a little bit more tidied up. But that's basically what I've been up to. Cameron?
I've been trying to start painting some grave lords. I did a test. I did some test. I did a test game with Soulblight, and then I went to a tournament last weekend using Slaanesh for the last time.
And you won, didn't you?
Yes, I did. No one knows how to quite go against Slaanesh quite yet.
Yeah, people still struggling with it.
Yeah, they're just way too fast. And you do get that one drop first strike in there, and then you just cripple them that first turn. And
So is there a better way to uh, counter that army?
uh, well, you see, if you play some zombies from Soulblight, that actually works quite a bit, and good screens works as well.
Okay.
Screens, AOE, attacks as well as range attacks does very well.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, I played Night Haunt for like the first. I played against Night Haunt on this tournament for like the first time in like 8 months, and I really like the new Night Haunt stuff.
It's very good, and I honestly, Night Haunts, I still think one of the best armies to get into if you're new, because their rules are very easy. You don't have to worry too much about dice.
They're just kind of just universally good. They're not the best at everything, but they're just very easy peasy.
I have one question today: is the book good enough to get Cameron to give up Slaanesh? And the answer
Oh
is
yes, I've
yes.
already thrown that
Yes.
army away.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's now in the
He's all Soulblight now.
yep.
Continuing on his, I don't even know. You were like number 6 in Soulblight at some point. Like I don't even know where you go from here. Um,
I need to rebuild my Soulblight winnings.
all right. So with that, we'll jump into the tier list. So I always put this slide up just to kind of go over how we do this if people are new. We don't deep dive into every war scroll. We'll just pick stuff that we like and what we think is good. Maybe pick out some stuff that we think is bad. So we don't do an in-depth. If you do want to do an in-depth review, you know, there's all kinds of different people that do that well. Season of War, I think they might have had a review on this. I'm not sure. Warhammer Weekly, obviously, Facehammer, all of those are real good to go to for in-depth reviews. And then the tier list is, as you can see on the screen, it's basically how we tier it. And it's very subjective, so obviously your mileage may vary. And I'm sure Cameron will tell me how incredibly bad I rank these.
As always.
Yes, as always. All right, so let's move on. All right, so I'll start with this. Cameron, I'll get your take in a minute. Let me know what I missed, what I got right here.
Hmm.
I think this is a B tier army, depending on skill level, obviously. I think it's a 3-2 army for 1. I think there needs to be some FAQs with this because there are some shenanigans you can do with this book currently. If
So much FAQs. So much FAQs.
yes, if the FAQs don't get up there, then this moves to more of a tier army just because of the shenanigans you can do with it. Which I fully expect FAQs, but we'll see. The other thing is they got a tome a little while ago, so I consider that tome to be kind of like a 2.5 version of this. Um, they finally updated it to 3.0. I think this is a 3.0 tome now. It's a little strange in how they did it, but it definitely has updated all the rules. I know Cameron's probably going to disagree with me on this, but in this book, you do have to pay attention to the keywords a lot more than you used to, which in my mind disincentivizes you to bring what you want like you used to. I know you can bring some of this stuff, but you do really have to think about those keywords and what you're bringing because it might not benefit to the allegiance you're trying or your subfaction that you're trying to run. So you just need to be very mindful of that. It's not like other tomes where there's a lot less keyword restrictions, but that's just something you want to bring up and look at. And then I think this is a mostly Johnny. There's a lot of list building with this, a lot of War Scrolls with some Timmy and Spike. I think Avengorii being able to do Monster Mash is pretty fun. It'll be very Timmy.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be so much fun.
I,
I do
I
disagree with the keyword things, but
yeah, I know. All right, so let me know. So I'll turn it over to you then.
so much like the previous book, there's a lot of keywords with this. However, the problem comes with is that there's a lot of keywords, but all the keywords have to do with faction leaders. Every faction has its own faction leader, and where before you didn't really get any bonuses for using those faction leaders in non-faction. Like if you used Manfred in the Vyrkos one, he wouldn't get anything from Vyrkos, which is okay. That's pretty bad, but sometimes it didn't really matter. While this one, if you put Manfred in other ones that aren't part, they still are generals. It's just they don't get to use all of their abilities.
And I also will say down that road, right, is I think this is one of those books. I don't want to say that because there are some really good subfaction abilities, but I do think the subfaction abilities, just from what I'm gathering, are kind of like the frosting on the cake. I think a lot of what this book is are the War Scrolls themselves. The War Scrolls themselves bring a lot of variety and power to the book, not necessarily the subfactions. I think the subfactions just kind of give you a like I was saying, frosting on the cake type of deal. So that's at least how I think about it.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that
Okay.
because I can clearly see by going through this that I know that some of these subfactions are better than others, and that you will find that some people are going to be going towards one subfaction more than another, and that some armies are going to be played in one than another. Like you're probably not going to see too many Blood Knights in a Vyrkos army. However,
That's
you're
fair.
going to see a lot of Blood Knights in a Kastelai or a Legion of Blood army.
That's true. I guess what I'm saying is you can still bring Blood Knights because their War Scroll themselves still
Oh, it's
brings
still good,
right. And I
but
just feel like I guess it just depends on how you want to play your army, right?
yeah,
I think
every
that
subfaction has a different way to play.
right. But I think you can still, like we were saying, I still think you can bring because the War Scrolls are so strong in this book, or stronger than they have been. You can still bring stuff that's outside of the subfaction and still
Yeah,
get something out of it. But I do think you just have to be very, very mindful of the keywords that you're taking. There's a lot of Vyrkos in this book. So that is
yeah.
one thing you have to want.
The biggest one is Vyrkos
Yeah.
because of Cursed Cities and everything
Yeah.
that came out of Cursed Cities, and everything that's Cursed City is Vyrkos.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. All right, we'll move on. we'll go into battle traits. Okay. All these are basically free and really good, so we'll just start at the top. This is really good. There is, I think, when new players read this, they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I can get my heroes back." So I just wanted to make a note that the summonable heroes, there's only 4 of them. I looked through the entire book. There's only 4 of them, and they're not fantastic. They're what you would think they would be, like White King.
They're all the skeleton heroes.
Yes, yeah. So don't think it's as good as there's not a lot of summonable heroes in this book. That being said, this is fantastic, and you don't have to keep them outside of 9 inches, which is also fantastic. They can be set up as a screen if you bring them back. I think this is solid. The only thing that would make this S tier is if you could charge or move them the same turn, but you can't do that.
No, that'd be way too ridiculous.
Yes, that would be too good.
But yeah, A plus all the way.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that they gave summonable to some of the heroes is so great.
Yeah. Yep. The Unquiet Dead. This was mostly the same. Did you see any changes with this? I thought this was basically the same thing. This is basically the graveyards for anyone that doesn't know.
It's graveyards, the same thing. The only difference is now you can put some heroes in there.
Sure. Okay. Yep. Oh yeah, I guess that's a good point. You could put the White King and stuff. Yeah. Yep. Because it's got the sound keyword. Yeah. All right.
Which means that you can have like, especially in like today's battle scrolls, battletomes and all that, you can put a GC really easily on another player.
Yeah. And this GHB, that's really, really good.
I got GHB.
Yep. In fact, I'm gonna move that up to just at least an A because I didn't think about the current GHB. This is real good. This is real good in this GHB if you're running that. The next thing is the Deathly Invocation. Okay, so I think this needs a little bit of an FAQ. So if you read this, can this trigger multiple times or just once?
It's only once.
But why can't you trigger it multiple times?
In your hero phase, you could pick up to 3 friendly summonable within 12 inches of a Gravelord hero.
Yes, a Gravelord hero. So if you have 2 Gravelord heroes, does it trigger twice? I know you can't.
That's not a Gravelord hero. That's 2 heroes.
Okay.
And you cannot pick the same person more than once.
I know you can't pick the. I know that's clear. I know you can't double dip into the same unit, but that is interesting.
This is actually a downgrade from where it was before, to a certain extent. Because before you can do more than 3 people because it was per hero.
Okay, well I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So I read it and I think that maybe that could trigger, but okay. I think the goal was this only to trigger once. This doesn't trigger for each hero because that would be incredibly.
Yeah, I can see it working like multiple, but the way I see it right now is it'll affect only 3 people.
Right. On 1 hero. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it still has and even if it was multiple heroes, I still don't think it's that broken because you can't affect the same person more than once.
That's true. You'd have to build a list into that, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but that can lead to some NPE because if people just do Lords of Zombies, like Tyler, if he's out there, but
don't think it's that bad. Most you're getting is 4 zombies back.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
So in one game you'll get 20 zombies if you perfectly place and you keep those zombies alive.
That's fair. I think you're right though. I think this does trigger once. I think that's the intent. But it is. I did read that and I was like, does this trigger more once?
I think that's the intent, but I do think that it will.
Maybe just to clarify it.
It could be FAQ to be multiple.
Right. Okay. And then obviously Deathless Minions. There's no more restrictions on this. You don't have to be next to a graveyard or a hero.
Oh,
it's just
1,000
a blanket.
times better.
Yeah, just a blanket 6-up board.
I hated having to measure all my distances for that 6-up board.
Yeah. I still am a fan. I'm still of the. I know I'm going to get ruled on this over and over again. I still think the 6-up board is decent at best. I know I'm going to be outruled and everyone wants that 6-up board, but I never roll those 6s. So.
And that's why you don't play Death.
Well, I mean, I play some Death, right? I mean, OBR. All right, so we'll move on. Spell Lores. So this was quite a bit different. I think this might be a reason why I wouldn't. I know, James, you asked if Nagash should be played in this. This is one of the reasons why I don't think he will be played in this, because he doesn't get a lot of benefit from the spell lore. Because there's only 6 spells, right? And he can cast 8 of them.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I just don't think you're getting his full point potential out of this army.
You are never going to be able to cast all 8.
And
be effective.
Right. Maybe in another death army, sure, depending on what the spell lore is. But I think in this army, I don't think he's good. Don't get me wrong, he had a glow up and he's a lot better than what he was, but I don't think he's good in this army. So these spell lores were pretty good. I didn't really have too much to say about them.
So, going from this book and the other book, they got rid of the best spell, which was Amethyst Pinion.
Yes, the movement one, yep.
Which makes me sad. However, all of these spells are good. Just every single spell is good.
I think for Lord of the Vampires, they're all very situational. Not all of those are going to work in every situation.
I think, let's see, Spirit Gale is probably the best spell in this entire book. Because you just do 1 to 2 damage to everybody.
Sure. I said, my thing was Soul Spike. I picked Soul Spike. I thought that was...
Oh yeah, and then Soul Pike is always going to be useful, because it's a 24-inch range.
Yeah.
Now, Vile Transference, what you do is you put that on a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, and then, because one of the weaknesses of this army is stuff like, we'll go with like Mega Gargants. And then you fight a Mega Gargant with your Vile Transference, and then you're rolling 35 to 40 dice, and every 5 up is a mortal wound.
Yeah, and again, I just think it comes down to being, that one's just very situational, right? Like, your mileage may vary with that one.
It's a hero wounder and emergency healer. That's about it.
Yeah. And then for Lord of the Deathmages, I actually thought this was a better one by a little bit.
It's all good. Like, all of the spells are good. The
Yeah.
problem is that there's only 3 spells per lord.
Right. I did think one of them wasn't that great. I think Fading Vigor is really good. Which is the one that I did not particularly like.
The weakest one is Prison of Grief, but
I think
still
so.
good.
It's still good. I think that was the one that I thought. Yeah, that's the one. It's good. Strike Glass is always good. They're all good. They're all good. I don't think they're S tier, but they're all good.
Yeah, agreed. Like, they're all good. They're just one of them in each one is situational.
Right. And that's the thing, is you gotta weigh your pros and cons when you pick these to put them on someone, right? So, okay. All right.
Very short spell list, but they're all good.
Yes, very short spell list. Subfactions. Okay, so the way this book is set up is somewhat like Slaanesh, where the subfaction you get is where your battle traits and artifacts and command traits come from, and heroic actions and monstrous rampages, if they have them, right? So I did the best I could trying to diagnose these as far as like what you would do with these subfactions. So again, Camaron, if I'm wrong here, just let me know.
Okay.
So we'll start with Legion of Blood. I think this is, I was gonna say by miles, but not by miles. I do think this is the best subfaction in the book.
I agree with that.
And I think we will see this most often. I don't think the other ones are bad. I just think this one's going to be the most competitive, probably. The battle traits. This is if they're outside of 3 inches for vampires, they have plus 1 to casting, unbinding, and dispelling, which is really good. And if they're within 3 inches of an enemy, they get plus 1 to attacks for the melee weapons, which is very good. Just a blanket. There's no bubble restrictions. Like, you have to be wholly within 12 inches. It's just, if you're out, you're out. You get that ability. If you're in, you get that ability.
Yep. So whenever you're out of combat, you can go ahead and have that plus the spell cast for the good spells that are part of your list, and then get ready just to be able to get back into combat. And once you're in combat, you are really good at combat.
Yep. So it's pretty good. I mean, plus 1 to attacks is always good. Then heroic actions. These are both extremely good, and great in this GHB. One of them is ward rolls cannot be made for wounds and mortal wounds for that hero, which is fantastic, and it's something that you can turn on when you want to, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's super good.
Oh, do I really need to kill this guy that has a really high ward this turn? All right,
Right.
you're the one doing it.
Yep. And I think the one for me that I think is just absolutely fantastic is using 2 command points to all out defense and inspiring presence. That is extremely good. So I think
Yeah. Especially in an army that doesn't have much rend,
right.
just to make it harder for your opponent to actually give saves.
There's a lot of command point shenanigans in this book. Whether you're taking them away or they're spending more, there's a lot of that in this book as well.
Mhm.
Command traits, I listed as Doomed Minions as my favorite. This was
out of all of them, it's Doomed Minions.
Yes, attacks made with melee weapons that target the unit score hit on a hit roll of 2 up. So I was going to ask this because I wasn't sure. Modifiers don't affect this at all, correct?
Yes, because it's an unmodified hit roll of 2 up.
Okay, so no matter if you get a debuff or anything, you're 2 up to hit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The entire time.
Yep, it's pretty good.
Yep.
The other 2 were okay, I thought, but I think Doom Minions is definitely the best one.
Yeah, they're situational. They're okay, but yeah, Doom Minions is the one that everyone's going to take. Yeah. It's a great way to clear off non-hero units that you just need to die.
Right.
Like, oh, there is that Chosen over there, the reinforced Chosen that they have. All right, that's my target. I really need that to die.
Right. Yep. Artifacts, I said these were very good. Some of the best, and one of them I think is the best, and maybe the whole book if you put it on the right person. Cloak of Mist and Shadows is ridiculously good. I don't know how that got in this book, but it did. Essentially, it's basically ethereal for whatever you give the artifact to. So you put this on a Vampire Lord or Vampire Lord on the Zombie Dragon. It is now a 3-up ethereal and a beast. So pretty fantastic.
That's amazing. Putting that on Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, make it so that that he gets +1 to his attacks whenever he's in combat. Because right now that also affects the mount.
Yeah.
And then also having I ignore your ward. Legion of Blood is just a faction where you just go ahead and get that Zombie Dragon and you just smack whatever you want.
Yep. It's essentially taking your and the Zombie Dragon is the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon is a beast in this book. He got a glow up, I think. I know Cameron's a little bit. We'll go over it, but I think whatever you put him into, you're going to do some damage with, especially in this subfaction.
And another thing you need to know about all the subfactions is that you need to. This book really wants you to play the leaders of the subfaction with their faction, and for this one, it's Neferata. And Neferata is probably the best unit, one of the best units in this entire book.
She needs to be FAQ'd.
So good. Yeah, she's one of those ones that were like, all right, you need to FAQ that.
We'll get to her, but she is very good in this book. She is, I think, much better than Manfred now. Where I feel like Manfred was more of the take than Neferata. Neferata will definitely, she's coming back with a vengeance, baby.
Yep, it's Neferata's turn, not Manfred's.
Yep. All right. Anything else on Legion of Blood?
No, Neferata's really good, and if you're playing Legion of Blood, you should take Neferata.
Yep. I would agree with that. All right. Next is I wanted to check something too. For Legion of Blood, I did Hero Hammer. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all their stuff is about
yes.
buffing the heroes.
Yep, exactly.
And they have the best artifacts for the hero.
Right. I just wanted to make sure I'm getting these right, so I'm not.
Another thing you'll see probably is something like I can see Blood Knights being used in this just because of Neferata.
Right. Even though, and again, we'll get to it later. Even though Blood Knights in this subfaction are not battle line.
Word semantics for you.
I know. I feel like there should be, but I understand why. All right, so I went to Legion of Night. Now I did for this. this I couldn't really figure out where this, like, what this is supposed to be doing. The only thing I could think of was techie movement abilities.
Yes.
With the charge shenanigans and stuff like that. There's a couple like techie movement things. I think this is like supposed to be something where you get your kind of like attacking in the night type of deal. That's kind of what I get from this subfaction. Is that accurate?
So this subfaction is the tricky one because this is Manfred's one, and it has to do with that movement, the ability to be able to charge during your enemy's turn. And the entire thing that you're going to be doing with that is you're going to be charging Black Knights.
Okay. Okay.
Because this is what you do. You have your screen of, we'll go with 10 dogs. And then your opponent's going to go ahead and charge their Maw Crusher over to your 10 dogs. With that, you're going to go ahead, all right, my turn to charge. I'm going to take my pack of 15 Black Knights, and I'm going to charge you. And I'm then going to roll 30 dice, and every 4-up is going to be a mortal wound against you. Thank you for getting close up to me.
The 4-up, it's a 5-up, right? But the 4-up if you...
Yes, it's a 5-up, but if you have the White King on Steed,
Right,
then
yeah.
it becomes a 4-up.
Which is good, very good. If you're going to take Black Knights, you definitely want to go that route, for sure. I don't. Unfortunately, I only have 5 Black Knights, so I can't do that.
Yeah. But other than that, it's a very tricky faction because of the heroic action is to be able to teleport a hero.
Yep.
Which is good. It can surprise a lot of people. Like one of them is, if you're good about it, you can hit your opponent with a, let's say, Manfred, a zombie dragon, zombie lord on dragon, a vampire lord on dragon, and if you kill what you're hitting there, you can immediately once their turn say, okay, I'm out, and then teleport them away. So you can actually go and never put yourself in harm's way.
Right. And that's you're talking about the heroic action, right?
Only one model. Only one model needs to actually hit.
Yeah, so you can do them with all, yeah. Okay, so yeah, again, the battle trait for this is the counter charge, which Cam was talking about. The heroic action is, that's the free teleport, which is fantastic in this GHB. So that's, free teleports are always good, right? You don't need just a heroic action, so that's very good. Monstrous rampages. Okay, so what did I say about this? I didn't like this for whatever reason. Okay. So what happens here? So pick one enemy unit within 6 inches of this unit that made a charge move in this phase and roll 2d6. Add 3 to the roll if the enemy unit is within a half inch of this unit. Okay. If the roll is greater than the unmodified charge roll for that charge move, this unit can attack with its Pestilence Breath or Death Shriek in that phase, and must target the enemy unit. So here's why
it's shoot like hell for
sure.
monsters.
Here's what I don't like about it.
Okay.
If you have multiple charges during that turn, and let's say they charge one of your monsters first, they roll an 8 and they get in, right? Then they go charge something else. Then they go charge something else. When you go to do this monstrous rampage, you're going to have to remember what charge they rolled. And I feel like this is going to create a little bit MPE, and I don't like how this mechanic timing works. Because I feel like...
I agree with that, actually.
I feel like you're going to go back and be like, oh, well, I rolled a 9. Oh, well, no, I think you rolled an 8. And I think this is going to cause some NPE, and I don't like the timing of this mechanic. They could have done this a little bit differently, and I think maybe it should have happened instantly, and they shouldn't have considered it as
it's going to be one of those ones where if you're going to be using it, I'm going to hold my opponent accountable for remembering what I rolled for that.
Right.
So you want to use that ability.
So that's the only reason I marked it as a C. It's not bad, right? It's okay. Is it better than Roar? I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't like the timing of this mechanic, and I think that's going to create some MPE, just for the fact that you're going to have to remember what that charge was, and then there might be some debate on that. So just be very careful with that. If you do that, you're going to have to really remember. Like maybe in this army, when people charge you, you just hold the charge rolls next to it, right? and just do it that way. That's just something to take note of, because the timing of this really sucks.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really good ability, but the timing kind of sucks.
Yeah. Command traits. Mark these as okay. These are all okay. I think my favorite is above suspicion. This is just another ambush one. That's the only one I could think of. The other one were okay.
See, the above suspicion is the one that I like the least.
I know, because you already get it in the army.
Yeah, you don't need it.
I know, but I don't like the other two either, though.
So the bait makes it so that you are a lot better at the anti first strike. And that's the entire reason that's there.
Yeah.
Is just to prevent your opponent from first striking you.
I don't like the one turn thing. Like, after that, your command trait's nothing.
Yeah, that is very fair, but it's an anti first strike, which first strike is really good in this game.
Sure. I didn't think these were all just okay. These weren't groundbreaking. Yeah. They're just okay.
Agreed. I think a B is a good one.
Yeah. Artifacts, I marked these as C+. I don't.
The only good one's Morbeg's Claws, and that's
yes, and that's the one I picked as well. That one
you don't get to do anything, but everyone around you gets a +2 to cast.
Yes. Yep. So I mean, sure.
Put that on a Necromancer or something like that.
Sure. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think this was very subpar.
None of this is Legion of Blood.
Exactly. Subpar to Legion of Blood. Yep, that's exactly what it's going to do.
However, you can do some tricky things in this book, in this Subfaction.
I will say, I do have a sleeper pick that's part of this Legion of Night, and I can't wait to get there, because I know Cameron's going to roast me. But I have a sleeper pick for this that I think is really good for the points, and I don't think... I think people are sleeping on it. But anyway...
We'll see. Also, the Subfaction Legion of Night, its main guy is Manfred. Manfred got a huge downgrade in this one.
Yes.
However, he is still good, especially in Legions of Night, because he works well with all of the techie movement.
Yeah. Yep. But he did get his downgrade. He's no longer the NPE beast that he used to be.
He's now an auto. He's now not an auto included in every Soulblight list.
Yes. Yep. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to Vyrkos. Dogs. Just dogs and zombies. Dogs and zombies.
Gotta love them dogs.
This is what this is all about. So if you like dogs and you like zombies, this is the one you want to play. Battle traits. Which one was this one? This one was...
So if a hero attacks, then a non-hero can attack next.
Yeah, this does not stack...
Or technically another hero can attack, but yeah.
Keep in mind, this does not stack from hero to hero. You can't hero and then do something. It does not work that way.
So it's not... I agree it's a B tier. However, this is still a very good ability. Because you just go ahead and because you'll probably be running a lot of different units to be able to activate 2 units at a time. Super good. Just be able to get all your stuff out.
Yeah, I feel like Vyrkos is going to be a lot about... It's very horde based, right? So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. Going to the heroic actions. These are all okay.
I 100% disagree with you.
I know you were going to say this. I know.
So good. You mean that by playing this faction, I get 130 free points?
No. I do think... Oh, you're just talking about the tier rank. You think it's higher than that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to change it. I definitely think you can only do the dog thing once, right? But that's still good. It's still really good.
This is why I consider it so well.
Okay.
Because you don't have to do it turn 1.
Correct.
Turn 1, if I go first, I'm going to go ahead and add a D3 dogs to one of my dog packs. And this can go ahead and be used to be able to get a few inches forward so I can run my dog's screen even better. If it is my opponent's turn and I know that they want to attack me, I can immediately, before they get to move, put up 10 dogs to screen.
I didn't think about on their turn. That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
Okay.
about on their turn.
Yeah. No, that's I'll move this up to A for sure. I definitely think you're right on that. And I don't mean Deadwalkers. I know we have a disagreement on this, but I meant Deadwalker zombies is what I meant.
Oh,
I
yeah,
not Deadwalkers. The keyword. That's not what I meant. Because dogs are still, and we'll get to dogs, but dogs are still good.
yeah.
But
This
I
also
don't.
has to do with the another one of the FAQs that comes out is
Yes. Yes.
there are some dead walkers that should not be able to get more models.
And we'll get there. I do think, in my mind, and I know I might, and I think there's actually a lot of people that will agree with me. I think for zombies we all missed the sixes to hit, do mortals. Now they just do mortals when they die, which is still good, and I still see the reason why you would still horde up on zombies. But if I were taking a horde, I'm gonna probably go with the skeletons instead of the zombies. But that's just me. I think the skeletons got a little bit of a glow up. Um, so
Agreed, but zombies are still good.
zombies are still good. I just don't know how much they'll show up. We'll see. I could be completely wrong, and this could be a lot better than what I'm marking it as. So, um, but I will say this is why I bring Cameron on the show is because he knows this stuff. And I did not even think about doing the dogs on the other turn to protect whatever you wanted to in that turn. Like that's a very good point. Um, Zombies and blood with 2 up to hit.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? That's also a very good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. See, you guys helped me. I will say, I got home on Monday and I had to go through the entire book in a day. So you'll have to bear with me. This is why I have Cameron on here is because he is the death guy. So I'll be better prepared for OBR next week because that's my death army. So all right. What are we at? Command traits. So the only thing I didn't like about these are small. They're small bubbles, and this
So
can be relatively hard to manage.
I would put these at a B because all right. So one of them is reroll charge. Yeah, it's only a 9-inch, so it's not that big of a radius. So I
Correct.
agree with you there. The spore tracker I don't think is actually that useful because it's only a normal move of 3 inches. And it's only during your turn.
I know, but when your stuff is so slow. I mean, I
It's
guess
only
if you're
against
doing
deadwalkers too.
yeah. Okay,
However,
so
out of all of this, my first pick is the Hunter Snare, which is for
okay,
the purpose of contesting objectives. Your general is considered
on the wound.
the
Okay.
wounds.
All right.
Put
I'll
that
change
on
it.
a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. Oh, that's 16 models that he is considered.
Okay, that's fair. I can see
Yeah.
the benefit for that. I guess I still think Sport Trackers has it for a command trait. Maybe not.
Also, another one that's really good is this subfaction allows you to put the command traits and artifacts on the named heroes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yep, you can. So you can put Hunter Snare on Radikar, who has 12 wounds.
Okay. Wow,
Or
that's
you,
very interesting. I think that might be the only time.
yeah, this is the only time I can think of that's happened.
Yeah, where
Because
unique units can grab them.
there's so many Vyrkos named
Yeah,
heroes.
there are a lot. Yep. Okay, I'll move that to B. I'll even do it to B plus. I think I don't think they're game breaking. I don't think they're fantastic, but they're good. They're decent.
Agreed.
Okay. I wish the bubbles were bigger because that's one of the things I hate about it is like this one you're gonna have a lot of big horde armies and to get them within 9 inches is just not not great. And that's why I did artifacts as a B minus. Again, small bubble.
Yeah.
So
So all of these ones are decent. The phylactery one is probably going to be the one that most people are going to take.
oh damn, I
Just
did the Olfenwatch one.
yeah, like they're all good. I think Ultimate is my second pick,
Okay.
but the phylactery because because it doesn't have to be your general. You can put it on a normal vampire lord, and then hide that vampire lord, especially in this JHB, behind let's say a group of Graveguard. And now that Graveguard has a 5-up ward, reroll ones on ward, as well as that vampire is going to buff all of his attacks.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see that. I just hate
However,
the 9 inch. I hate the
yeah,
9
it's a
inch.
very small.
I
However,
think
that
I think
Ultimate Watch is great.
I think in this GHB it's better because you can kind of protect them But
Outside of this GHB, I think Overwatch is going to be the one.
I agree. I agree.
But inside this one, it's the Phylactery.
Terminus Clock. Which one was that one? That one was the.
Every turn, your
bad.
opponent has a 3-up chance to.
When you have to get a 3-up for the artifact, bad. I just no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the one that rolls the 2 every time. I mean, we all know that. All right. So anything else about Vyrkos other than dogs, baby dogs?
Dogs, baby dogs. It definitely needs an FAQ, or else people are going to start making zombie ogres and a lot more.
Yep. And we'll get to that when we get to the Quasargi, but that is that's an FAQ for sure. All right, moving on to Kastelai. This one is, I just said heavy vampires, question mark. This is all about vampires.
Oh yeah, this is all about having vampires.
Yep. I want to like this one, but man, I was pretty bummed reading some of these. I don't think they're as good as the last two, but correct me if I'm wrong.
So, I think this can potentially be better than the last one, just because I think there's a command trait as well as the named hero, Prince Vordrea. I think if you use Prince Vordrea in the Kastelai, which it pretty much it wants you to do that, you can start doing some amazing combos out there.
Okay. I mean, I'm all ears. I want this to work because I want to make a vampire list for sure.
That, like Kastelai, there are some really nice combos out there that I think are actually pretty scary.
Okay. Well, let's go through the battle traits. Battle traits, basically, this is just the table of, depending on what you kill, you get a buff for the rest of the game, and you can get all of the buffs, but you can't stack them. So, sure, it's good. It just requires you to be killing something, so that's something that you have to. I mean, you just have to remember that you're not playing a horde type
Once you start killing stuff, then you're going to get a lot better at killing stuff.
Yes. Yep. And I think it's good. I don't think it's game breaking. I don't think it's Legion of Blood, but I think it's good. And it gives you buffs. So yeah, sure. Heroic actions.
I find this heroic action absolutely hilarious.
Okay, go for it.
It's the one where whenever you decide for this turn, after every phase, if I'm damaged, I'm going to damage everyone around me because I'm throwing a big tantrum.
Yeah.
And like you put that on like a vampire lord and zombie dragon, and then do like things that damage you on like we'll say Kragnos, because Kragnos can damage on every phase. There's some things that damage on every phase.
Yep.
And it has the potential of being absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
But it's very situational.
Yeah, I agree. And there's going to be some things where you don't want to go completely just diving in because you're just going to lose it. So you have to weigh your pros and cons on this one a little bit, just depending on what you're playing with. So it's situational. You're not going to use it all the time, but there might be a choice for it. So I said B-. It's okay.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Monsters Rampages. Add 1 to the wound rolls. So.
I think that this is
better than
actually.
Roar?
No, it is not better than Roar to a certain extent. Okay. So Soulblight lacks the capability of buffing like the hit and wounds of their attacks. Okay. And so whenever you have something like a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, you can now no longer +1 to his hit and wound for free or anything like that.
Okay.
However, with this one, you can +1 to hit and wound, which severely helps, especially like the his mount attacks and all that.
This is going to come down to what the situation comes down to, right? If you run your Zombie Lord Dragon thing into something, and it's already got -1 to hit, -1 to wound or something, then yes, maybe you use this instead of Roar. But I think in general, you're going to be using Roar 9 times out of 10 instead of this.
Yeah. Another big difference is that this isn't a roll; you just get it.
Correct. That's a good point. That's also a very good point. It's a freebie if you do it. That's for sure. That's a good point. Would you mark it better? Maybe a C+?
Yeah, I'd say C+. Like it's not horrible at all.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're running
better ones.
multiple. Especially if you're running multiple zombie dragons.
Yeah. I might do that, man. These. I know we're gonna talk about the Zombie Lord Dragon thing, but I think you gotta blow it, man. That thing is scary now. All right, let's go into command traits. Okay,
All right.
so
So two, I don't know why you have this so low. Two of these are very good. One of these is not.
okay, so let me. So what did I say? So again, excuse me, I gotta read through this. But so why is Swift and Deadly worse than the Vyrkos equivalent? Because the Vyrkos equivalent.
No, the Vyrkos is worse.
No.
Than this.
Wait, hold on.
Because Vyrkos is only 9 inches, while this one's 12 inches.
No, I thought the Vyrkos was. Hold on, see now I gotta look. Oh, you're right. I thought it was. I thought it was larger than that. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong on this. Okay, go ahead. Go shoot for it then on the command trades.
Swift and Deadly is definitely better than the Vyrkos one. 12 inches is pretty good, especially when you're running like a big unit of like Blood Knights and stuff.
Oh, that's what I meant. So that's what I meant. The Swift and Deadly is better, but why is Vyrkos worse? Like, why make one 12 inches and one 9 inches? That's what I was trying to get at.
This is the same thing from the previous book. Almost all of Vyrkos' stuff is 9 inches, and they had the 12-inch one in the last book too. They just kept the same thing. Don't know.
Okay, all right. So that was the point I was trying to make. Is one of them was better than the other, but they're the same thing. So like, why is one of them larger area? I don't know. If anything, it probably should have been swapped.
Lore-wise, Kastelai is a lot more battle trained.
I'm just thinking from a horde perspective. I want the 12 inches, not the 9, right?
Agreed. That's what I want, but that's not what I get.
All right, so then sell me on the other two.
So, the shifting keep, I don't like. Like, you can put Blood Knights in the reserve and put them on the side field.
Sure, great.
Okay.
Sure.
However, the Undead Blade Lord.
Okay.
So, whenever someone else gets one of those buffs from the battle trait, you can put it on your general.
Correct.
So that means that you can
now
start...
it's once per turn. Keep in mind.
Well, yeah. That's
so
fine.
you can't do it multiple times, but I get it. It's good. It's good.
So you have...
I'm marking this as a B.
You have Voldrea go ahead and kill a hero, and then you have your other Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon go kill a non-hero. That means now your general has a +1 to attack and a +1 to damage. And then you can go ahead and use Voldrea's ability to go ahead and give that +1 to attack, that your normal one, give it to someone else.
Sure. I think
you're just spreading the love here.
Yeah. I think this will help also, because when you first read the battle trait, when you play this army, you have to be cognizant of what you're attacking and what buff you get. So with this, it does help spread it out, so you're not thinking about just strictly going for that buff. It'll help. It kind of spreads out what you can kill to get the buff. So sure, I'm with you on it.
Yeah. So yeah, both Swift and Deadly and Undead Blade Lord I see play.
Okay.
They both have good play.
All right, I will mark this as a B if you're good with that.
That's fair.
Okay. Artifacts. Did I mark this correctly? I did a C for these. These were all pretty subpar.
So, the Fragment of the Keep is very good. Just if you're in melee, you have a -1 to wound. Like, you can make your Vampire Lord even harder to kill.
Sure.
And the and you can do a +3 to charge. The Red Casket, you combine that with Swift and Deadly, +3 charge, reroll charge.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
But both the Fragment of the Keep and the Casket are good.
Okay, I'll move this to a I don't know. I don't want to say they're B minus maybe.
I'll say B minus.
I mean the 3 to charge is really good.
The brick got downgraded. I think it used to be like a 6-inch bubble, which is super good, but now it's only a 3-inch bubble.
What is the brick? Why am I missing that reference?
It's a Fragment of the Keep, and it's the -1 to wound.
Okay.
But it's the Fragment of the Keep, so it's a single brick from the keep. So it's just your lord carrying a brick with them.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Man, so you guys know this army better than I do. All right. Anything else for Cast? Is it Kastelai or Castel? I say Kastelai.
I like Kastelai.
Okay.
Pick your poison.
All right. The next one's my favorite. Maybe it's just the Temmie in me. But Monster Mash. for Avengorii.
I love Monster Mash. There's so many cool things you can do with it.
Yeah.
It has a huge glow up from what it was before.
So this unlocks your zombie dragons and your Terrorgeist as battle line.
Yes.
And this is all about just Monster Mash. Just bring as many monsters as you can.
And like before, it was really bad because like the dragons and the Terrorgeist by themselves aren't good. However, they made a few changes to some people that actually you can actually play them like and them be actually good.
Yeah. So battle traits. This is all you're gonna get for this. Is the you pick one one monster, and they fight at their top bracket, which is really good, really really good. It's free.
It doesn't matter how damaged I am.
Yep, it's free. It just happens. Monsters Rampage, Maddening Hunger. I said was super good.
Oh yeah, D3 models.
Oh, yes.
You can just die.
Yep, it's super good. And you know what? This is really good because you get into pretty much any regular unit, right? You're gonna kill the banner. You're gonna kill the champion. You're gonna kill, and what's even better than that is you can, depending on how they're strung across, right? You can try to do some shenanigans with. Now they still get a pile in, so it might not always work.
So it doesn't really work because of the pile in, but you can get rid of those special models real good.
Right. Yep.
Or like, did you get charged by Chaos Knights? You have a decent chance just to kill three Chaos Knights right off the bat.
Super good. Super good. Chaos Chosen? Super good.
Oh yeah, just a D3 models for free? Okay.
Yep. Super good. And then the other one was decent, I think.
The Unstoppable Nightmare has it's a very niche play, but I still kind of like the play.
It's different. So, do you want to walk them through this?
So, what it is until the end of the next combat phase, if one of your people dies within 6 inches, the monster can attack. Now, what you can do is you can do a Vampire Lord on zombie, and do the Unstoppable Nightmare on him. Attack with your zombie dragon, the Vampire Lord on zombie, and then if your opponent's also fighting, let's say, 10 skeletons that are nearby and they have to fight it, okay, those 10 skeletons die, and now you just get another free attack with your Vampire Lord.
Super good. Yeah. It's very niche. You gotta plan it, and it's gotta happen just in the right time, but it's good.
It has its uses, but it's niche.
Maddening Hunger is super good, though. I love that one.
Yeah, that's the go-to.
Yep. Command traits. I said 2 good traits, and I picked Monstrous Might as my favorite.
Yeah, Monstrous Might is great. Just minus it's that brick, except even better.
Yep. Only within 12 inches of the general. That's really good. You put this on.
It only affects monsters, but still.
Right. Super good though. I mean, that's what you're doing in this army anyway, right? Cool.
The other two are kind of meh.
They're what was the other good one though? I think I had another one that was good.
Unhinged Rampage is good. You can re-roll charges for your general, and if you got shot, you can move.
Yeah, I thought that was okay.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah. So I said B on these. All right. Artifacts I said weren't as good.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I'm not.
They're all once per game stuff, and
Yep. I'm gonna mark them as a C minus. They're just I hate once per game artifacts. It drives me insane.
Like you can be tricky with the collar because the collar gives you a once per game strike first, but like it's okay. If I had to choose one, I'd choose the collar.
Yep, that's same here.
Yeah, that's about it.
But this is definitely my favorite one, just because I love me some Monster Mash.
With the changes of the Avengorii, like monster lords and all that, I can actually see this being a viable list now.
Yeah, I agree too. I don't think this was viable in the previous.
Oh no, not at all.
But
it was real bad in the previous one.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on. Let's go to advanced strategies. I said these were all pretty much B. They're okay, and A. I said C is Crimson Martyr, but my favorite one was Lust for Domination, which is control more grave sites than your opponent.
I don't have these in front of me, but I remember Lust for Domination was the go-to one.
Yeah, The other one, I mean, these are all these are okay. When the battle ends, complete this grand strategy if you replace 3 or more summonable units that were destroyed during the battle. Maybe.
No.
It's very role
It's
dependent unless you bring the Gorslav, right? Or who is it, Gorslav
that
or Necromancer?
it's Gorslav
Yeah.
or Nagash technically.
Sure, sure. But I mean, meh. Yeah, I mean,
But
you have to
the
build into it.
problem is it requires your opponent to kill you.
Correct. I mean, yeah. I just my other thing is sometimes it's role dependent if you get those back too, and I just
Yeah, I wouldn't take it. I do not think it's a good take.
Yep. More friendly summonable units than enemy units wholly within enemy territory.
No, it's just a worse version than the
Sure. Yeah. Maybe I said maybe in certain lists, like you can bring them back in the graveyards and maybe get it, but like meh.
Just choose the generic one where you just need more
True.
units in your opponent.
True. That's a good point.
It's just a straight weaker version.
Yep. Agreed. That's a good point. Yep. Good point. And then Crimson Large Band. All right. So that's it for grand strategies. Battle tactics. I thought these were all relatively decent.
Yeah, I've read through these, but I don't have them in front of me.
So I'll just go over the two ones that I think are good. Grasping Dead. Pick one sendable unit within 3 inches. You complete this tactic if that unit is within 3 inches of any enemy units at the end of the turn. So
Yeah.
you just have to have a big enough unit to survive the fight, but this is doable, I think. So
Yeah. I think the weakest one, if I remember correctly, was the Endless Nightmare. Is that the one where you had to resurrect 6 models?
yeah.
Like that that can be tough.
Yeah, yep, it can be. Yep. And that's why I like Deadmages.
Like you can build, like as you put there, you can build lists towards that. Like do that on, oh no, I had a 30 pack of skeletons and there's still 5 skeletons left. All right, I'm going to choose that one because I am going to get more than than 6 back.
And then I said the one that I also highlighted was expand the grave empires. This is great for a potential first battle tactic because in the new GHB it's real hard to get that first one.
So what's this one?
This one is if you control 2 or more objectives wholly outside your territory, and each of those objectives is controlled by a friendly summonable or vampire unit. There's a lot of ways to,
it's super easy to do because
graveyards.
The graveyards.
There's a lot of fast units in here that you can get through. Like this one's a slam dunk for first battle tactic, I think. So.
Yeah. Another one I really like is the one where your general has to heal from the vampire.
I think that one is. I don't know which one that one. Oh, the choicest vintage. The choicest vintage, whatever.
Because is it the general has to do it or 2 non-generals?
Pick one enemy hero on the battlefield. You complete this battle if the enemy's hero is slain during that turn by an attack. Oh no, that's vampire hero. That's not the one you're talking about.
No.
What's the one that heals?
Is it cursed on life?
General. If any wounds allocated general or to 2 other, yes, vampires are healed using the hooker. Yeah.
There's so many ways to have multiple generals in your army in Soulblight.
True.
It's so good, and they're all vampires. All the good generals are going to be vampires.
Yeah. So I think in general, I think these battle tactics are pretty good.
Oh yeah, they're not. Oh my god, automatic like
Correct.
some factions.
Correct.
However, they're all decently viable.
Correct. Yep. All right, we'll move on. Honestly, sometimes I can't stand the grand strategy and battle tactics and the battalions, which this doesn't have any. So we're just gonna move on. All right, let's get into some scrolls. We got a lot of them, so we'll try to get through these as quickly as we can here. But this is a big book and a lot of war scrolls. So.
All right, it looks like we got almost all of the generals of the faction.
Correct. So the one that I highlighted was Prince Vordry. Sorry. He's expensive, but he's a great hammer. He will hit like a truck.
Yes, he probably does some of the most damage in the game. Neferata is so good. She buffs if you put her in Legions of Blood, she buffs the army. She needs an FAQ, and she just has a natural 12-inch -1 to hit.
So let's talk about the FAQ, because at first I didn't understand it. Tyler had to explain this to me at first, but let's talk about Neferata. When I first read the ability, it's essentially exactly what Night Haunt does, where you deploy your units, and then at the end you can pick up some of them and move them to another location, right? Really good. Night Haunt does this, and it's a very good ability. The difference here is Neferata can move these within 9 inches of your opponent's territory. So now those objectives that are like out just on the edge of your territory can now be controlled with 20 zombies or 40 zombies or a bunch of skeletons or
If you have a map that is just half the battlefield is split half between friendly and enemy territory, what you do is you just take 4 units of your army, Neferata and 3 other big units, and then you just, instead of being that normal 18 inches away minimum, now you can be 9 inches away from your opponent. And say that's, okay, you have Graveyard. I now have a 30 stack of Graveyard that now can just move 4 inches, and now I'm 5 inches away from you, and I can automatically charge 6.
yeah.
Or,
Think of spells too, spellcasting, right?
Yep, first
Now
turn, I can your entire army is now within range of all of my spells.
Needs an FAQ. I don't think that's the way it was intended. I think it still needs to be outside of 9 inches. Even if it is outside of 9 inches, it's still super good, right? I mean that.
Oh yeah,
that
it's still
Night
super
Haunt
good.
great.
It's it turns into what was his name from Stormcast, Bastion.
Yeah.
Bastion does the same thing,
Yeah,
except Bastion's is even worse than this.
Yeah.
Because Bastion's D3 while she's just straight 4.
Yeah. She is fantastic though. She's gonna be an auto include if you take Legion of Blood, I think.
Yeah, like even past that ability, she's still so good.
Yeah.
16-inch movement. She's hard to kill. She could still slap.
Yep.
She's a good spellcaster. Her spells are absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Agreed.
She's just good.
Yep. And if you look at this list, all of these guys are good, right? I mean, these are all really good. I like the Vengorian Lord and Avengorii lists. He's a cool healer for monsters. It's pretty unique.
Lukave and Avengorii Lord make the Avengorii actually usable.
Yeah.
Without them, I don't think you can do a good Avengorii list. Take 2 Avengorii Lords or Avengorii Lord and Lukave, and if you don't kill those zombies, then they're just going to become a pain for your entire way.
Right. Yep. Lukave basically gets a 2-up save, which is pretty cool.
All right, and Manfred, you put on a B. He's not the S that he was before.
Correct. He lost.
However,
for people that don't know, he lost the NPE garbage that was teleporting before he gets hit. So that is now gone.
in combat, I teleport away.
Yeah, that is gone.
So the big difference here is that the change is that if you give them redeploy, instead of redeploying, you can actually charge with him. And when you charge, he gets strike first. So you can always go ahead. Did you get closer than 9 inches? All right, I charge you. No matter what, I get to hit you first. Yeah. And in some armies, you can do that to really mess up your opponent. Yeah. Because you can charge into, let's say, we'll go with Iron Jaws, a Maw Crusher and a unit of pigs that are right next to him. I charge you instead of you charging me. Now you can't charge me because you're in combat now.
Yeah. Yep.
So I prevented you from charging, and now during combat phase, I go first, and now I'm going to pile away from the Maw Crusher and make it so that he just loses a turn.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, he has some really good playability.
I will say I hate the timing of his melee weapons and how you have to do that. I think it's
100%. His melee weapons suck.
It's gimmicky. I don't know why you have to do certain ones before. It doesn't even really... When you read the ability, too, and if you think about it, it really doesn't even... It's not even that effective.
A +1 to attack to summonable if he killed a model with his last weapon.
Yeah, something like that. It is not very effective. Like, I don't know why they put that in there. They could have left that out and it would have been just fine.
Yeah.
No one's probably gonna follow that anyway, but whatever.
What happened was that there was some questions on like, all right, what goes first? What actually killed something? And so they just made it. No, this is what happens.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
I understand why they do it. I just disagree with it.
Yep, it's gimmicky and it's just gonna slow the game down. But it's
you don't take Manfred for that. You take Manfred for the redeploy charge.
Yep, exactly. All right. We will move on to these guys. So again, if you disagree with any of these tiers, let me know. Valdama is fantastic. She's still the obnoxious dog creator that she's always been.
Oh, 100%.
She is one, and I might just have some PTSD from just Cameron playing me with this stupid thing, so I might be a little high on Valdama, but this little girl is.
Think of it this way: she technically got better and cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, she's
the only changes is she's only really good in Vyrkos.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can still do the spell, right, and still kill dog. I mean, she might have.
Yeah. And another thing is I say that, but now she can also become a general in a non-Vyrkos army.
Sure. Yeah.
So like she still has good use all the way. It's just you just can't use her best spell, which is the 6s to hit or two hits in a non-Vyrkos.
Yeah.
But you can still make dogs like crazy.
So this is one of my hot takes, is the Vyrkos Bloodborne. So I marked this as A-, and I know, right? But these things are dirt cheap. And these are great ways to get a battle tactic. I just think I almost would include just one of them in my army just to get that crazy first battle tactic if I need it. Like, I don't know. Right. I think it's...
So, yeah, they are dirt cheap. However, like, they're kind of like a one-hit wonder, maybe.
I mean, 3 attacks each, 3 threes, -1, 2 damage for something that's...
Yeah, it's going to be 9 points. Attacks at 3 at -1, 2. However, she has 90 points. And at that point, you start thinking, like, all right, for just a little bit more, I can get some dogs. Or for a little bit more, I can do it. Like, they are still good.
Yeah, I think they're good for taking some battle tactics here. They're kind of like...
my only thing against them is that they have a 6-up save.
I mean, sure, but they're going to die anyway. And if someone's wasting their time on those, great. Have fun with that. They're 85... They're 90 points. Like, get out of here.
Like, if you have the points and you don't want to take
endless spell or something.
Like an endless spell or a corpse cart, then yeah, I could see you using them.
All right. I just thought they were good. I thought they're good. I'll mark them down to B+.
Yeah. Another thing is like, all right, if you're spending those points, they're Vyrkos, and like, okay, you can get the ogres for 80 points for Vyrkos.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a second. That's... anything else you want to go over?
Radikar the Wolf, I can agree. He's okay. I don't think he's C tier. He's a really cheap buffer hero caster.
I know, but I'm probably taking Radikar the Beast though.
Yeah, and Radikar the Beast, he's a good bit expensive. However, he got such a good buff because he used to be only -1 to hit, but now he's -1 to hit and wound.
Yep. Ooh. He's gonna be a pain to get rid of. Like, he really is. He's pretty good. I think between these two, and that's the reason I marked him as a C, is you're gonna take Radikar the Beast almost.
Unless you're started on points.
Yeah.
Unless you're started on point them.
True. But even then, I might take something else than Radikar. I don't know.
Yeah. So Volga, I am up in the air with her. She is a brilliant.
She does one thing well, but that's all she does.
She does one thing super well.
Yeah.
Just think of it this way.
Do I want to spend... How much is she? She is...
135. So
I don't know, man. Am I taking her for 135?
Take Volga, and then put her against a Mega Gargant.
Or Archeon, or any of those. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally
get it. Completely get rid of that. and she's not that expensive. She's 135.
They're just gonna retreat and go a different direction, fly over you, and then that's the end of that. I don't know, man. For 135 points, I don't know if I'm taking her. I get the reason for her.
And like she is a silver bullet, and that's what she is.
Volga and the True Blades were sponsored. Yeah, no, I get you. I see the point for it. I just.
She's not an auto include. I can agree on her B tier.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're on the same page. Don't get me wrong. I would love to throw this little girl into Archeon and just be like, okay, have fun with it. Like, what are you gonna do?
Thanks for playing.
Yeah, like great. Or a Gargant list. Like, okay, have fun.
The only thing that makes her like not immediately amazing is everything. She's a named character, so she's gonna get sniped off the field.
Yep.
And she can get stomped on, and she only has 6 wounds.
Yeah, that's true. And she's slow.
Yeah, like
you're gonna.
She
those
does
monsters
have a lot of
those monsters are gonna be into something before you get her in there, right? Like
it makes it so that the monsters are going to have to attack Volga.
Sure.
And like, there's a decent chance that they could do it.
She's gonna get shot off the board though. Like.
Yeah. But she's only 135 points.
Sure. All right. Sure. All right. Anything else on this? I think we're good. Beldama is the G though. She's the G.
Mama Babushka's amazing.
Yes. All right. Next. All right. Let me know what I got. All right. So let's talk about Vampire Lord. I think this thing got an extreme blow up, and this thing is super scary now. So. I don't
think that's their S tier at all, actually.
Okay. So
I have one main reason.
Okay.
They're 440 points.
I know they are expensive, but they do
are
a lot of damage.
So many points for this army.
They do a lot of damage. Lots of damage.
And as well as you lost a lot of ways to be able to buff them.
True. I definitely think. Okay, I'll say this for sure. They're definitely S tier in Legion of Blood.
I can agree with that, yeah.
Because you're going to give this thing the 3-up Ethereal, and you're going to be like, okay, have fun. Like,
oh, yeah, the Legion of Blood, 3-up Ethereal, all that stuff. No one's killing that thing.
Yeah, and then it heals 6 wounds every... I mean, get out of here. Yeah, good luck with that.
Outside of Legion of Blood, they're so many points, and they're kind of swingy, because their monster attacks are 4-up, 3-ups.
Yes, I did notice that.
And for 440 points, and you lost Amethyst Pinion, so you don't have massive board control like before.
Yeah, no Inspiring Presence. I mean, I think it's the
good.
curse is good.
They're just expensive.
Yeah. All right. So what I'll do, we'll say this.
S in Legion of Blood, though.
Yes, I agree. And then I would say, let's say we'll mark it to like an A-. Otherwise.
I can agree with that.
Okay. All right.
It's just they're just too expensive for a lot of lists to be running through.
They are swingy. Like now that I'm looking at these, the forestry is going to suck.
They're super swingy. Any penalty to hit, it's going to make them go
7
away.
attacks, forestry is -1, 2 damage. I mean, they have, I don't know. Getting
it's only
minus, attacks for
it's
stuff
only
too.
-1 rend.
Yeah. You get the -3 and the damage 3 if you have the lance in charge, right? So.
Oh yeah, and that's the entire reason why you take him is those lances.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that needs to go down a little bit more. But Legion of Blood, it's an auto include. You're gonna put that thing in that list every
get one of them in there unless you are trying to get a 1-drop.
Correct. Yep. All right.
Oh, that's another reason why I'm not 100% sold on them, is because it's really hard to get a 1-drop in.
It is.
In Soulblight.
It is. Yep.
Because
I was playing with lists and it was tough. Yeah. I was consistently a 2 or 3 drop.
Yep. I haven't been able to make a list that I like that is a 1-drop yet.
Yeah. All right.
But the rest of your stuff, Kritza, horribly bad. Don't like him. He sucks.
Cool model.
Beautiful model.
But
hilarious lore as well. But
just rip on that.
Vyrkos, nope.
Yeah, there's going to be other options you're going to take. Lady Annika is not very good. She's okay. She's a good battle tactic taker.
If the Vyrkos was not Vyrkos locked, he would go up a tier. But
I think Lady Annika can be a good ambush model. but she's okay.
Yes, she's kind of squishy, even though she has a 4/4. But
If I was taking Lady Annika, I would take Kato anyway. So
yeah,
Kato's the one I would take. And,
Kato's great.
yeah.
Just
Yep, I agree.
he's a Swiss Army knife.
Yep, I agree. Cool model. He's cool and he just does a lot of stuff. He's a cheap ambush wizard, so he's good.
It does a little bit of everything.
All right, moving on to this. Okay, so I said Vargeist, or get the Vargeist thing out. What did I say they were?
I like Vardgeist. However, I still would not put him above Blood Knights.
Agreed. I marked them the same.
Even in Kastelai, like Blood Knights, even in Kastelai, Blood Knights still do more than Vargeist for their points.
Yeah.
However, I really want to use Vargeist, and I think they actually finally have a use in Kastelai.
All right, so I'll mark them down to a B then. We'll keep Blood Knights as a B plus. Blood Knights are still good, but I don't think you're going to see the crazy mass Blood Knight armies now.
Oh my gosh, I love Blood Knights so much.
They are they're still good,
their charge ability is so great.
They're good. I just don't think you're going to see a list with just Blood Knights though. I mean, maybe you might, but I think there's other options now.
I think there's ways to do it. I don't think you're going to see it that often, but I think there's still ways to do it.
I mean, that was the thing in the previous book, right? Was just load up on Blood Knights.
Yeah. All right. I think the sleeper pick out of everything.
I mean, you will,
but True Blades.
True Blades, yeah. I said, yeah, these guys are pretty good, especially monster speed bumps. Yep.
So True Blades in Kastelai are kind of scary.
Okay.
Because they're vampires, so you can make all their attacks up to 2 damage, and give them additional attacks. Then you reinforce them, and so what happens is you use Vordrea and all that to be able to give them the +1 damage. And then if they're reinforced, you can make it so that you have a 2-up. Your opponent has strike last.
So I think.
And then you just attack with them.
So the only reason I don't have them up higher is because there's only 8 of them and they're 2 wounds each on a 4-up. So.
And 2 of those models have 4 wounds.
Okay, so that's fair.
Like they're still a little bit. I think they're exactly 18 wounds or 8. But they're anti-monster, and in Kastelai you can actually have a vampire unit that forces your opponent to do strike last, and then you can just utterly smack into them.
Okay, all right, that's fair. All right, would you put them up higher than B?
In Kastelai.
Okay.
And anywhere else I wouldn't, but in Kastelai I think they're actually really good.
Okay.
Very specifically a reinforced pack.
Anything else on here? Vampire Lord, I says a good 1-cast wizard with good buff. You're gonna see him quite a bit, I still think.
Bloodseeker Pelican. I do not like the Bloodseeker Pelican is the one I liked.
I said it's pretty decent. Again, a lot of options for this price. So, it's cool that this is the vampire one, right? I always get them mixed up because there's so many of them.
The Whale of the Dam's great. I love Whale of the Dam. It's a hero. It's a vampire hero. It's a caster. Like it just has a little bit of everything. Would you
mark it higher than B?
Nope, I wouldn't take this.
Right,
I think it's a great model that I wouldn't use.
Yeah, it's hard. That's the problem with this book is there's a lot of options, and you have to really weigh your pros and cons because there's a lot of stuff here. It's pretty, yes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yes, it is pretty. I like the question mark. It's pretty.
Yeah. I can see people using it. I wouldn't, but I can see people using it.
Okay. All right, then we get to the last of the Vampire Warscrolls. Okay, so Coven Throne. No, I marked this as A-. I might have to mark this down. I like the free Vampire Lord. That's cool.
All right, that free Vampire Lord is so hard to get.
I mean, sorta, right? I mean, you could probably.
All right,
if something's injured, right?
Okay, you need an injured hero that's 6 wounds or less within 12 inches during your hero phase.
Sure.
and you need to kill them with a spell that's a 7 cast and does D3 damage.
Okay, I just say it would be cool, right?
And you know what you lose because of this? You lose the whale of the damned.
Okay, all right. Well,
And
I'll
that
mark
whale
it
of the
down.
damned is so good.
Anything else on this list that we would change?
Oh, also that Coven Throne's only a 1 cast, so you're doing that spell that only has 12 inches or nothing else. Let's see. On this list, I think Prince Diwali has some use.
I think he's expensive.
Yeah, he has some use if you want to go the whole spell portal route.
Sure.
But that's about it.
What was his spell?
I believe it's a +1 to hit and wound against a target within 6 inches.
Oh no, he has a range of 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
It's only good if you bring the spell portal.
I'm not taking it. I'm taking something else.
But other than that, I agree with all these tiers.
Yeah. Okay.
I think all of these are C's.
Yeah. The Crimson Court makes me sad as well. They're beautiful models. Oh my gosh, the Crimson Court is.
You know what the Crimson Court are?
So good looking.
The Crimson Court is 3 more Vampire Lords that I now use.
Oh really? That's a good point. Yeah, you could do that.
Just use it for Vampire Lords.
There's such good models. Oh, it does make me sad. All right.
Don't use them as an actual unit.
Let's go to Deathmages and Deathrattle. Anything on here you want to talk about? Mortis Engine?
Let's see. Mortis Engine. I wouldn't give it an A, maybe an A-.
Okay.
Just because it's pretty expensive.
It is. Oh, it is pretty expensive. But
do a 4 Mortis Engine route and just start peppering your opponent with stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to give mortal wounds out with this thing, so I think that's pretty good.
Like it's good. You do Mortis Engine with a whole bunch of screens, and you just hold your opponent back as you just pepper them with mortal wound after mortal wound after mortal wound.
Yep. Anything? What about Helgrim or White Kings?
All right, Watch Captain Helgrim, I do not like.
Okay, all right. I marked him as a B+. I thought he was okay.
He's 110 points, and all he really does is he kind of hits hard, but he's slow. But he can give Deathrattle he can give 3 Deathrattles the run 6 instead of 1. That's all he does.
Okay, maybe I'll mark him as a B.
Torgulus Chamberlain. I actually kind of am in love with this model.
Oh, here we go.
All right. So he's one of the only models in this army that actually has a range attack.
Yeah, that's bad. It's not good.
Oh yeah, it's better than the Deathrattle's range attacks.
Sure.
He is a wizard that can cast spells from the Deathmage.
And he's got a 5-up ward.
He has a 5-up ward, and he can give Vyrkos his 5-up wards.
Right. All within 12. Yeah, I mean he's okay. I thought he was okay.
You put him in Vyrkos, he's actually pretty.
He's also cheap. He's also very cheap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's alright. It's okay.
Let's see. The normal White King, do not like.
Yeah, you're gonna take the White King on Steed if you.
White King on Steed, absolutely amazing.
Great with Black Knights. So if you're running Black Knights, you're gonna put the White King on Steed.
I played with this, and the fact that the White King on Steed is summonable makes such a huge difference. Because you can give all of Radikar's buffs to it. You can do the Vampire Lord's buffs to him.
Yeah. Yep.
And he makes the Black Knights do all of their amazing abilities.
Yes. So that's the one on the 4-up, right? On the charge?
Yes. He makes them do 4-up mortal wounds.
Hopefully people are buying those Black Knights, because they got a glow up for sure.
I am 3D printing them sometime this week, so.
Nice. I might have you make me some. I only have 5 of them, and I definitely want to use more of them.
I can legitimately see an army of 30 of these.
Yeah.
30 to 40.
The days where Black Knights are taking more than Blood Knights. All right, so we'll move on. Okay. All right, so I know I might be the only one out there that thinks this. I think Deathrattle skeletons are going to be the new zombies. They're cheap as chips, and they're pretty good.
Okay, you're not wrong. Like I think people will take them more than zombies. However, I still think the zombies are really good.
I do too. I'm taking skeletons. Also, I mean, we talked about them. We've pretty much talked about the entire show, but Black Knights, Chef's
They're so
Kiss.
cheap.
They're
They're so cheap.
summonable. I mean, they're fast.
They
They're summonable. Like they're great.
Yeah. Their only thing is like they're not amazing in combat. Like, you take them for that charge, and that's about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Graveguard are a very important thing in this book
Okay.
because they are one of the few things that can actually deal damage that isn't a hero.
Correct. They're very much like the old one. Their weapons are I think weren't they on 3s and 4s and now they're on 3s and 3s?
I
Something
believe
like
they're
that.
the exact same profile except the two-handed now has a 2-inch reach.
No, I thought they had 2-inch reach on the last one.
No,
Oh,
they didn't.
maybe not. Whatever. Graveguard are still good.
Yeah.
Graveguard still good.
The only problem with the skeletons is that they're not doing damage, but same thing with zombies. They're not doing damage. Sepulchre Guard, I don't know.
Yeah, Necromancer is a cheap wizard. That's all you're taking him for. He's not
Oh
very
yeah,
good.
cheap wizard and get access to that spell lore, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. They do now. Yeah, so I was wrong. So they did have a 1-inch before. So yeah, I all of my Graveguard have the
Two-handed weapons.
yeah. So
I just got 20 Graveguard, and they all have two-handed weapons as well.
I think I've got 20 of them. So I'll probably pull them out and use them. All right, moving on. Last two. Man, I wanted King Morlock to be so much better. That model is so cool looking. Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Look at that model.
I actually think King Morlock is actually really amazing. I
Such
think
a freaking
Morlock actually
sweet
has use still.
For
Like-
for the price, man.
Mostly
He
just
is-
because he is summonable.
Sure, I guess.
You
I
can
think
actually
he's way too expensive.
You can heal him. He slaps. You can increase his attack characteristic. The Sons of Volmorn, you can increase their attack characteristic.
220 points for 5 skeletons.
Yeah, but those 5 skeletons have a 4 save, which is the highest save you're going to get outside of heroes.
For 220 points, though? I can think of many
they
other
are expensive.
options.
They are expensive, but
I might put him in just because I
They're
like the damn model. Dude, he's so cool looking.
I know. I want to get it just so I can paint that model.
Oh god, he's just look at that model, man. Ah, just such a cool skeleton. All right.
But the Sons of Volmorn, just because you can bring back a 4-wound model easily, you can bring back the other models pretty easily.
I mean, they
But
hit.
you can
okay.
force your opponent to not be able to pile in.
Yes, that's right.
And give yourself a 3F save.
Their 6-inch movement, though, like by the time you get there, your shit's gonna be dead anyway. I don't know, man. I
just
want
bring 'em
them
out
to
of
be
the
better. I want them. Yeah, that's true. You could do that. Yeah. I want them to be a little better for that price point, but like I said, I might use it just because it's a super cool model.
I'd put them at C+.
Okay, I'll do it for you, Cameron. I mean, you're the death guru here. Alright.
If King Morlock had 1 more wound, I would put him at a B, but
5
he does not.
wounds.
He does not have that.
All right. Okay, Deadwalkers. Last of the Warscrolls here. Okay, let's talk about the Kasargi real quick. Please don't go start printing these, pre-printing these out or trying to buy these. This is gonna get FAQ'd. I can only imagine.
I already know exactly what the FAQ is going to say, and that is you cannot add models to a unit that has the single keyword.
Yeah, that would do it. Please don't do that. So if you don't know, these are considered Deadwalkers, and is it Vyrkos?
Yep.
And Vyrkos, you can bring these back above their unit size.
Yeah.
So you
they're
can just
normally
keep bringing
only
them back.
2. Yeah, they're normally only 2 models, but adding D3 models to them is really good.
Besides spawning corpse cards are better. Sure, if you want to do that. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, the other D3 models is right now you can technically do that with corpse carts, and that's hilarious. It's kind of bad, but it's still absolutely hilarious.
It's hilarious, yeah. But please don't do that. Like, I'm trying to help you guys out. This is gonna get FAQ'd, and you're gonna be sad because you're gonna have a bunch of these Kosargis, and you're gonna be like, I don't know what to do with these guys. So they're good, but not in multiples, right? Like, just it's. Please don't do that. I put them in A just because they're broken right now. That's the only reason.
If they do not get rid of the FAQ, I'm going to be using them in every list for Vyrkos.
Yeah, you and every person that wants to ruin the game. I saw 94 for the star. Oh my God. I'm sure they're going to FAQ some of this stuff. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, there are some FAQs in this book that need to happen. Clearly.
I see. Let's see. I see 3 wrong things with this
Okay, go for it.
list right now. The first one is corpse carts. I think they need to be B.
Okay.
They
again, the only reason
one,
I did that is because I think zombies were going to be a lot less used. But I see your point.
+1 to cast. They're
Yep.
super cheap, and they make zombies actually be able to deal damage.
Sure.
During their turn.
Sure.
Now zombies, they're definitely not C tier.
Yeah, I'll bring them up.
So just picture this.
They're
Just
definitely not A tier. I'm sorry, they're not A tier.
I can agree with that. They're not A tier. But 60 zombies coming out of a grave on an objective. You go ahead and you slap them with your strongest.
I know you're gonna.
And then you, we'll say that you just kill them, and then you go, oh man, that sucks. Go ahead and take 20 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Next turn, I'm gonna bring 30 of them back.
Yeah. And here's 10 more wins.
And they're cheap. They're only 115 points.
Yeah, for 20 of them. Yeah. I've got a ton of these guys, so I'm hoping that they are good because I want to still use them.
Good.
I miss the old scroll. I guess I'm just die hard for the old scroll.
Oh, and the other thing you got wrong is direwolves are S tier. So
I will mark them as S tier. I will say I do think direwolves are one of the best screens in the game.
so they don't deal damage. That's their only problem. Other than that,
but you're not using them for that.
Yeah. Other than that, they are great movement blockers.
Yeah.
Being able to pilot
10 of
6
these guys.
inches.
10 of these guys for 130 points. I'm sold. You got me.
They're cheap. They have good wounds.
Yeah.
5 up save, 6 up ward. It's just movement shenanigans every day. Block those teleports in. Just. Yep. And that's what they're used for.
Oh, you know what? I didn't notice that. That's a good point. You make a good point. The Deadwalker zombies went up in attack. I didn't know that. I mean, they're still garbage, right? You're hitting 5s and 4s, right? So, but you're gonna take them for that mortal wound on death. So, okay. Anything else on here? I think it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, did you not know that Deadwalker zombies don't have 2 attacks?
Yeah, I know that now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did not. I forgot they only have 1 attack. I didn't see the 2. So, all right.
Yeah.
Monsters. All right, let's get the Nagash thing out of the way real quick. For people that weren't here earlier, I think Nagash is a glow up. I think he's better. I think he's actually pretty decent. The issue is I don't think he benefits well in this army. Just for the fact that there's not very many spell lores, you're not going to get them all off. He's very expensive for what you're trying to do in this army. So
if they changed one thing about him, I would use him.
What is that?
And the thing that they did is they made it so you can't cast Arcane Bolt as many times as you want anymore.
Correct. Yep.
Because now he's an 8 cast wizard. However, there's if you play him in Soulblight, there are a total of 10 spells that he can cast, which is the 2 generics, the 2 on his war scroll, and the 6 that are on the actual.
Yep. Yeah, so you have to have a very good spell lore with a lot of options in order to get the full use out of Nagash, and that's the problem.
Yeah, you're never going to be able to do this thing that he's supposed to do.
Correct. That being said, he's a beast when it comes to bringing back things now, though. So, and he's actually better in combat. He's better survivability now. He's still good.
He's half your army, so you're only bringing back crap.
He's still good, but I'm not using him in this army. Like, I will still take him. I'm still gonna try to make him work in Night Haunt. One of the RGTs I won was taking Nagash in Night Haunt, and I think he's very good in that. I think they have a very good.
I can see him in Night Haunt. Yeah.
They have a very good spell lore, and I think he's gonna be great in there. But in this army, I don't think he's very good.
I can agree with that.
Zombie Dragon is pretty good. This is a great monster hammer. And then Terrorgeist, I think Zombie Dragon's better than Terrorgeist in my opinion.
Yeah, because there's no way to change Battle Shock. People's morale in this army anymore.
Yeah.
Which like really downgraded the Terrorgeist. Now he's just a very swingy hammer.
Correct. Yep. I still said he's good if you want to take him, but if you're going to take Zombie Dragons over him.
The Zombie Dragon is still swingy, but he's still more consistent than a Terrorgeist.
Yeah. Yep. All right, moving on.
And all these are great in Avengorii.
Yes.
Take Avengorii Lord and make it so that these guys can never die.
Last I have these two. These kind of didn't fit any of the other ones. Like they weren't Deathmages, they weren't Deathrattle, they weren't vampires. Gorslav, he's fine. He's cheap and he gets you a unit back without rolling anything. So
sure. How many points is Gorslav?
What?
How many points is Gorslav?
He is. Excuse the dogs in the background. They're going crazy. I'm looking. Where is he?
He's 120 points.
120 points.
Oh. No, he's not worth it anymore. You already have such good ways of bringing your zombies back. You don't need him anymore.
Correct. I agree. I'm gonna mark him down to B-. I'm definitely not touching the Felbats. I think they are fantastic. For 85 points, you get 14-inch movement. You're
they're kind of swingy, but they're so much better than what they were.
Correct, 100%. I for 85 points, I'd put these in.
They are chaff harassers.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you do not take care of them, then they're just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Yeah.
And I'm really happy how they buffed these guys. I think I'm really happy with the Felbats. I need to get some. I don't think I have a single Felbat, but
if they were Deadwalker, I'd take them in a heartbeat, but sadly they're not.
Yeah, true. Alright, that's it. Alright, so we're going to move on to the allies here. The only two allies you can put in this are Flesh Eaters and Night Haunt. I tried to pick only the ones that would make sense if you were to take them, even if at all. The cool thing about the Flesh Eater courts is you get free units. You kind of pay for it with the model, but 2-cast wizard that gets you a free summon, sure. I could see him being put in there.
I think the Abhorrent Arc Regent is he's just universally good everywhere, just because he's so universal in what he can summon.
Correct. Yep. And then the Ghoul King, I did the same thing. It's 1-cast wizard with summons, so sure. I'm probably putting the Arch Regent in before that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would do the normal Ghoul King, but Arc Regent, just because of so much that he can do.
Yep, I agree. Alright, we're going to get on to the ones that I like the best, though. Alright, so all these are real bad, right? So these are bad, but just Night Haunt in general. So you can bring some of these. None of these are very useful, but I thought I'd just throw them in here just to see what you can kind of do. None of these I'd really put in here. Dreadblade Harrow is a free teleport each turn, so I mean maybe, but you're not putting any of these in there. So, any thoughts on these? I mean, the Kurdos is kind of interesting just for the fact that he's able to steal command points and he's decent in combat, but
No, the problem with Night Haunt is that you lose their ethereal ability now.
Correct.
So they're just not that good.
Yep. There is one person that you do actually keep the ethereal on.
And that's the one you want to do, and that's the one you want to use.
All right, we haven't got to him yet, but all right, hear me out on this.
Okay.
I actually think Briar Queen's pretty good here. I didn't realize the Briar Queen. I'm gonna have to get it out because I don't remember exactly how it's worded, but essentially, And again, I'm sure you guys will correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Um, it's a spell. You launch it out. Everything within 6 inches of that point, you have movement. I think it's what it is. That's really good in this army, I think, because some of your stuff is pretty slow. Um, I could see
So you
using that.
choose a point within 18 inches, then roll 2d6 for everyone within 6 inches of that point. If it's greater than their move, or you roll a double, they take 1 damage and their move characteristic is halved.
It's pretty good.
The problem is it's 260 points.
You get Briar Queen and the things that come with it, I think. Right? I think
Yeah.
that's. But sure, 260 points is expensive, but that's a really good spell. I mean,
That is a good spell. I don't know if I'd take it though.
sure. I'll mark it as a B. I was stretching a little bit there, but when I read the spell, I was like, man, that's actually really good.
It is a good spell.
All right,
but
so
it's a little bit too expensive.
let me go over the one that I want to take, that I'm going to try to make work.
Okay.
And that is the Black Coach. I think the Black Coach can be used in this. I think this thing is pretty good if you carry this with the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. If you run these two guys, one, you get the free teleport, which is already good. Two, you get the crazy damage thing that it does, and it'll be real easy because you're going to be killing stuff with the Vampire Lord. And you get the ward on this as well. So I think this is useful. I think you can use the Black Coach. I'm going to see if I can try to make it work. I don't think it's game breaking, but I think it's solid.
I agree with you. Like, just for the fact that it keeps its ward. That ward helps so much, and you give something that you can shoot with.
This is going to be
your army's going to be able to slap pretty well.
Yeah, this is going to be such a distraction for your opponent. Like, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with this thing, because if you don't do anything, it's just going to keep teleporting all over the map and just doing damage, right? So, I like it. I like the Black Coach. I think it, and as it keeps dropping points, it keeps looking better and better. So.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not that many points. It's 290 points.
Yep,
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Not for what it does. I think it's pretty good. All right. Anything else on this?
Nah.
All right.
I can't think of anything really.
Okay, then Mournicle. That's the one that you still get the Ethereal on. So it's actually on his War Scroll. You still get it. He's not very good. You're not gonna put him in here, but he has it. So.
Exactly.
And then I put Herodons on here just because you get Strength of Dice. I mean, sure, but you're still not taking those.
You get Strength of Dice on normal summonable stuff.
Sure. Again, just an option. Just throwing stuff out there, seeing if there's anything crazy. So yeah, so that's what I got for allies. Move on to these guys. I marked both these as B. I still think they're decent in this army. Mega Gargant's good because it's. I mean, both these guys are good because they're distraction pieces. They're distraction / speed bumps that your opponent has to deal with while also dealing with all the other things.
I can see the Kronspine being used actually fairly well.
Okay.
Just because besides the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon and the other Mortarks, like there isn't actually that many big smack hits. Nothing with like massive rend or anything like that.
Correct. Yeah. So Kronspine would be good in that sense. Yeah.
And that's where both of those guys come in, and they're both roughly the same point value of a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon.
Yeah, it's fair. I'll mark him as a B+.
I
think Mega Gargants are pretty swingy still, so I'd probably take a Kronspine over Mega Gargant, but
yeah, I can agree with that.
I mean, Kronspine is also swingy, but he has a lot more utility than Mega Gargant does.
He's a lot easier to survive.
Correct. All right, moving on. So let's go through the spells real quick. This is the last thing. Yeah, long show tonight just because of the amount of War Scrolls.
There's so many.
All right, so let me know if you have any problems with these. Cogs, lots of spell casting, so that might be something you take.
Yeah, cogs are great.
Lunchbox. I think Lunchbox might have a spot because you could teleport some ambush unit all over the place and do some stuff.
Like
maybe.
What though? A normal Vampire Lord, a Vampire Lord?
Sure. I mean,
you could teleport Bella, but you don't want her in combat.
I'm thinking like some of the ambush ones, like Kato would be a good one.
Kato, you just give him 14-inch movement.
Yeah, but now he's got a lot of movement.
I guess you could go for the Hail Mary and give him like a 30-inch movement.
Yeah, sure. And get behind those screens and get something, maybe. I mean, whatever.
I guess
maybe.
that's fair.
You could do something with that. Purple Sun's too expensive.
All the rest are.
Ravenex is still good on its own. Sure. Nothing else is really.
Okay,
standard.
so Purple Sun actually has a use.
Okay.
Because there's not a lot of rend in this army.
Yeah, it's just yeah. All right, I'll mark that up.
So there's a lot of ways to get a crap ton of attacks. However, all those attacks have no rend.
Palisade is great if you don't have any shooting. Yeah. Are you going to spend points on it, though?
I do not like Palisade because it's so easy to get rid of.
Yeah. I mean, you're using it for one gimmick, and that's to prevent Unleash Hell, essentially.
Yeah, it's a fake safety net. Yeah, and that's what it is. It makes you feel safe, and then they immediately unbind it, and then...
You feel bad.
Yep.
That's fair. That's fair. I will probably not spend any points on it. Probably accurate. I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah, Ravenex, Snatching Jaws, and Purple Sun, always good.
Yes. Ravenex has always been good. I love that spell. Soul Scream, maybe a potential use to get things across the board.
There's so many, just, if you really want
a
problem getting around, just do Graveyard.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Umbral Spell Portal definitely has use in this.
Yes.
We're talking Manfred's spell, we're talking Belladonna's spell, we're talking Prince Dulvane or whatever?
Prince Duval.
Duval, there we go. Prince Duval's spell. There's so many unique spells that if you were able to get in certain places are amazing. We have Nagash's spell.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody loves a good Hand of Death right in your face.
It's so good. I need to play more Nagash. I like that dude.
If they make it so you can do Arcane Bolt, I'll play him.
Yeah.
If
I don't think we're getting
that.
They definitely need to lower his price point, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. All right, so this is going to be a little bit. I know Cameron's not going to agree with me with all of these here, especially with the first point. So when I was going through the book, I think there's, and it's probably just because I'm not a Soulblight player through and through. To me, I feel like there's too many identities here. I feel like there's a lot of subfactions. I know there's a lot of war scrolls, but I feel like there's a lot of identity issues with this. I think
that comes from too many war scrolls.
And that might be the problem, but it's just sometimes it's hard. Like I had to, what was it? The Slaanesh subfactions, right? I could read the subfaction and know instantly how that was supposed to play and what the benefit of that was. With these subfactions, I had to really kind of drill into and figure out what exactly is this trying to do. Some of them are pretty obvious, like obviously Avengorii, pretty obvious. But some of them was like, okay, what is my goal? Like Legion of Night is kind of all over the place. I think there's probably too many subfactions for me and too many identities, but that might just be a me thing, and maybe that's not a problem. I think maybe for newer players it might be a problem too, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
They gave a lot of ways to play Soulblight, and for some people that's good, but for some it can lead to decision paralysis.
Yeah. And that's the other point I made. Is there's lots of units to choose from, so it's going to be hard to kind of to really figure out your list. I don't think the internal balance is terrible, but there's definitely winners and losers in this book. The other thing was, I do think some competitive builds will be very memey and potentially very NPE, and I don't like that. So I'm hoping that doesn't become a thing, but I'm hoping, someone doesn't come to the table with 200 zombies and a hero, right?
Oh, God.
No one wants to play that. I was hoping that we would kind of get rid of that type of thing, but it's still in the book. It's still a thing you can do. I mean, sure. I want to get the MP away from this game because that's not fun for new players. That would be
200 zombies would be literal hell fighting.
yeah, it just wouldn't be fun. It just would not be fun, and I don't like that type of thing. So, 160 skeletons, sure. However, or what were you saying earlier? Corpse carts, right? Like,
yeah,
that's bad.
I'd rather fight the skeletons than the zombies.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The zombies means that I'm going to be dying fighting them.
Yeah. And then lastly,
at least I can get rid of skeletons.
Correct. And then lastly, we kind of been talking about all night. FAQs need to come in to get rid of some of these very abusive mechanics. Obviously, if you're one of those players that's kind of trying to break the game or break the system, I would be careful with that because FAQs are coming, I'm sure.
Yeah. Infinite corpse cards, my boy.
Any last comments on just the summary? I mean, you're the death player, Cameron.
There's so many different ways to play this, and the internal balance is pretty decent with it. Just you're going to be playing Soulblight, and a lot of different styles are going to be seen when you actually play them.
Yep. All right. Well, that's our summary on the book. Obviously, we got OBR coming up next week. Erica will be on because that's also her favorite Death Army. So, it'll be us three going through the OBR book, and I'm very excited about that. It's definitely my favorite one. I'm very excited for the changes. I think they got a huge glow up by getting rid of the RDP points, so I'm pretty excited about that. So that's good. And then still in the process of doing some potential events coming up, so that'll be interesting as well. Other than that, please go take a look. Our last video that we did was a pretty fun one where we picked our our favorite and least favorite models, and it was a pretty fun show. So if you haven't checked that out, go do that. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment. It helps grow the community. I really want to get this thing growing so that way we can do a Discord and kind of start building things not just for Age of Sigmar but other hobbies as well. So pretty excited about still just continuing to grow this. But yeah, that's all I got. Cameron, anything last thoughts? Anything else?
No, can't wait to start playing it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to show all my friends the experience of dogs.
Dogs, more dogs. We all need more dogs. All right. On that note, I will talk to you guys later, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
See ya.
Ah.